Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast, ABP. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host. Today, we are starting our season 2 and episode 36. We are excited to welcome you and we are excited to start our season 2 as continuation of our business podcast. Today's number is 13 million. This is how many people are employed by manufacturers in the US. This number alone shows the importance of manufacturing for the US economy. Speaking of manufacturing, we have a great guest today, a great manufacturer in New York metro area, I must say Long Island actually, in New York area. And I'm excited to welcome Robert Kufner to our virtual stage. And we're going to have a great conversation today. We'll talk about US manufacturing, state of the US manufacturing, and other subjects. Robert, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Kevin. Glad to be here.
How are you today? How is your week going?
My week has been very busy. We have a lot of development going on with a lot of new projects in robotics, med device, and defense, and it's been a lot of fun. How about you?
Good. Yeah, it's so far it's pretty busy. I was at the conference, so there's an ERP system called Sage. I was at the conference the entire week, so I learned a lot. And we also are gonna have a special session about ERP systems in coming weeks. So I'm excited. But so far so good. No complaints.
Great.
Great. Well, we have a lot to discuss today, and I'm sure our audience also they're excited to hear from you. So we've been talking about U.S. manufacturing, importance of U.S. manufacturing, and also challenges in U.S. manufacturing in our podcast in various episodes before with different guests. And we got a lot of views, we got a lot of questions. So U.S. manufacturing is important, and our audience, our listeners also, they love to learn more about it and the latest. So, you are the best guest that I can ever have in this subject. You are the manufacturer on Long Island in New York area.
Thank you.
And
Thank
yes, so I'm very, very happy to have you. I know you are very busy, and thank you for being with us in your busy schedule.
Glad to be here. Like I said, we are one of the largest manufacturers here on Long Island, and manufacturing is still alive on Long Island. For those of you that are on Long Island,
Yes, coming up.
right, live
That's great.
and thriving, and thriving, and thriving.
That absolutely. We are all for it. We are rooting for it. And as a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our listeners?
Sure. My name is Robert Kuffner. I'm the president and CEO of a company called Designatronics. Designatronics actually has multiple brands, the largest of which is on my shirt, right, on this side.
There you go. Yes.
SDPSI. So Stock Drive Products and Sterling Instrument is a brand that's been around 75 years, believe it or not. So the company's been around a long time here on Long Island. We are a large manufacturer of small scale, medium scale power transmission products. So gears, pulleys, belts, a lot of gearing, and you can see our you can go to our website. I think it's going to be posted in the chat. Mm-hmm. But we're one of the finest CNC manufacturing machining businesses here on Long Island, and glad to be here.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So let's learn more about you, if that's okay. How did you start your career?
So
how did you choose your career? How is the journey started?
Yeah, I think my career chose me a little bit. I am fourth generation manufacturing by family. So I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. My family on both sides, mother and father, more specifically on my father's side, my grandfather and great grandfather both worked in the steel mills in Pittsburgh. And, as being a child in the Rust Belt, got to understand manufacturing. It was a part of most everyone's lives. Either they had family that knew someone or had family involved in manufacturing in some way, shape, or form. I didn't want to go that path. Actually, I wanted to be a pilot when I was in school. Worked hard to try and chase that career, but unavoidably, I kept getting drawn back to doing things with my hands and being a part of something that's bigger than myself, that actually allows me to create something at the end of the day, and manufacturing really gives you that chance. I moved from actually working in machine shops and molding plants, running machines, to um, going to get my engineering degree, and then advancing in several positions to the point where I was actually working on a automotive manufacturing line, installing robotics, doing automation, and I just fell in love with it. Um, there were so many challenges. It was the events that I would get into, the projects I would get into would push me beyond my comfort zone and give me lots of challenges. And quite frankly, I've never stopped. So now I run it. This business has 200 employees in it and growing. I've been through several businesses along the way. Um, doing some really fun stuff with automation and robotics, but also the end products that we make every day are life changing. Particularly here, where we make medical devices, aerospace and defense products, and more recently, we are one of the leaders in providing products for robotics, not just the industrial and cobots, but we are advancing with a number of different customers in development of humanoid robots, where we're going to see them here in the industrial space as well as in your home. And then it's a great place to be a part of that, and to be able to make things that change people's lives. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So, you manufacture and you lead the company with your team. You work in manufacturing industry every single day. What are the challenges and exciting parts of your job, you will say?
The challenges, probably the biggest. So I had always hoped that, as a young engineer, that I wouldn't have to deal with people, but manufacturing is people. You may think it's the machines, but the machines don't run themselves. Even in the world of AI, there's certainly a lot driving the path to get machines to run themselves. And we certainly have a lot of autonomous machines, but at the core of the business is people. My challenge has actually more recently been finding people that um, want to come back into the industry, or have a passion for the industry. And unfortunately, the industry, manufacturing, is certainly smaller than it was in the U.S. It's a crime that has happened over time, quite frankly, I think. And I'm happy to talk more about that. But we are now seeing a number of folks recognize not only how important manufacturing is to us today, but also that manufacturing actually can provide a great way of life, particularly here on Long Island. So those of you that are maybe elsewhere in the U.S., Long Island is the second most expensive location in the U.S. to live, and yet our machinists here thrive, and they're able to not only put food on the table, but buy homes, grow families, and make a great living in manufacturing. And it's like that across the U.S. So in manufacturing, plants certainly have changed dramatically from what certainly people's parents or grandparents have worked in back in the day. They're clean, they're well lit, they have great benefits. They have a number of aspects that I have employees that have been with us. I have two employees that have been here over 50 years. One has been here 53 years with us, and enjoys coming to work every day, just like I do.
That's amazing. Yes, absolutely. Um, and also inspiring, of course. Um, so, in US manufacturing overall, what is the state of manufacturing in the US from your point of view? And you mentioned some of them, but if we can dive a little bit deeper, what type of challenges US manufacturers are having in general, especially nowadays, with the focus of, made in the US, the making production in US is an important subject that we have been talking about. As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, head of SBA came on Long Island, as well as New York metro area. They had a road show in a way. They listened. We had great meetings. I mean, that was actually really exciting. So, in this view, how are you seeing the manufacturing, U.S. manufacturing, and the challenges in general?
Well, it's getting the most support it's ever had, in my opinion. Since I've been in the industry now, I'm not going to state my age, but I've been here in manufacturing quite a while. It's seen the most resurgence that I would like to call it a renaissance, um, for lack of a better term, than it has since I've seen it. Manufacturing has stability now with funding from the government, although there is quite a bit of chaos being generated by the geopolitical um, activities with the tariffs. It actually puts U.S. manufacturing in a solid position, although it does raise our costs. I'm getting a lot of opportunities from customers we had not talked about or even had conversations with before that are looking for ways to solidify their supply chain, and that's really good for us. It's been recognized in the U.S. Fortunately, too, that the support is necessary for us to get some critical components for what we make. And I think we've had some real eye openers lately. So we're a distributor of motors. Motors need a number of different materials to make, particularly magnets, or the materials that go into making magnetics. That stuff is not found here in the U.S. And lo and behold, that has been quite a surprise to a lot of people. And there's a lot of scrambling going on to close that gap. We're actually a company that can help with that. There's a lot of other companies that can help with that as well. So they're seeing customers that they hadn't seen before either, which I think is beautiful, quite frankly. Shame on the U.S. for advancing so far down a path um, it, that they have unfortunately had to rely on a number of different countries to be able to support themselves as a whole. Um, I really think it's time now for us to get back to in reinvesting in manufacturing, supporting the small businesses and young folks that are going to come out of our engineering and our technology programs that want to start their own businesses. I think it's high time that we do that as well. I remember back in the day in the neighborhoods that I grew up, there were several parents that had their own shops that um, were able to make a great living and support other folks in manufacturing. And I think there's an opening for that as well as the big companies.
I like to shift our conversation towards AI a little bit. You also mentioned it briefly earlier. So, what do you think about AI? How it is gonna be continue making an impact on manufacturing? And will AI replace jobs? Are they gonna just run the manufacturing force by itself with AI robots and AI, power software systems? Is it anytime soon? You think?
No, straight up no. And as I'm going to put my American gear manufacturer um, hat on right now. So I'm the chairman of the American Gear Manufacturers Association's committee on automation and robotics. We interact at a very high level with robot manufacturers, folks that are actually doing AI. We are involved in what's called physical AI. That would be learning robots, whether it be a cobot or a humanoid robot. The misconception is that robots will replace humans. Well, absolutely they will for the mundane jobs, the dirty jobs, the stuff that people don't want to do. But robots can't run themselves and never will be able to run themselves. And uh, what we have to realize is that we have to condition our students and our employees to be able to raise their skill set, to be able to drive the innovation that goes into building these um, softwares and the AI that goes into robotics, so that they have the skill set to be able to manage the robots that are doing the work, not necessarily um, doing the work themselves or being having their jobs replaced. I hear that a lot. We use robots, and robots will, for a very long time, as far as I can see, be a supplement to our efforts. And what better way to supplement a person's effort to use less of their physical self to wear their bodies out and be able to use multiple robots to get work done? We do that here, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Actually, we can make a machine do multiple times the work that a human can. So we have to be able to condition our folks to be able to be prepared to program it, troubleshoot it, set it through its paces, without the fear of it being replaced, of themselves being replaced. And I think they get that now. And a lot of people have trouble recognizing that unless they actually see that in action. But if you come here, and I encourage people to come and we open up our doors to tours all the time. We encourage you to come see what we're doing. But automation is a beautiful thing and I will say this: the only way that we're going to be cost effective against the low cost countries like China, India, is we have to advance our automation to be able to compete. We have to be able to match their low cost with our high output through automation, whether it be robots, whether it be automated manufacturing and automation, non-robotic automation, if you will. It's a great opportunity for a lot of folks now, particularly our engineers that are in school or just getting started. As you know, we do internships and a
Yes,
lot, but that is a
yes.
great place for us to immerse our folks in an environment that is so different than a book that I think is necessary. That's actually how I got into manufacturing after uh, my first stint as a machinist.
Yes. Well, in my previous career, I had the chance to do some machine shopping with some of our, you know, the head of management back in the time. So we went to Germany. We look for machinery equipment. We look for made in Germany machinery, kind of Canadians, others, etc. So one thing that I learned at that time was the more complex is the machine, the more difficult is the maintenance process. So
Yeah,
you like to keep it
absolutely.
as simplistic as possible that will serve the purpose. So yeah, I mean, to your point, we keep talking about robots. So how complex they will be, and robots are not new in manufacturing. There is a ton in different forms of manufacturing processes. But
Sure.
everyone knows automotive. That's ton of robots making different performing different tasks. But then with the AI and AI powered robots, how complex it will be, how it will be really operational. There is also the cost of these that we will see.
Yeah.
But to your point,
You know,
it's really fascinating. Yes.
and this actually goes along the lines of your business or your own business that you're involved in. One thing that we've seen with things like ChatGPT, and now one that's really come along that we're using a lot here is called Claude. um, Amazing ability to do data crunching for us, research, particularly. So we have 13,000 active customers annually with over 100,000 part numbers. We're using AI to uh, match customers with potential products in a much more concise way, overarching way, and quickly, to where it would take us several weeks to do research. We're doing strings of requests by using those chatbots that allow us to do it in 20 minutes. It's amazing. So I don't want to ignore that either. It's not just
Mhm,
about the physical AI, although we're very focused on that.
mhm.
The programming capabilities, or I mean the data analysis and search capabilities of that is pretty amazing as well.
Yes, absolutely. So the conference that I was at, for example, this week, also a couple of weeks ago, I was at SAP conference as well. So I've been to SAP a couple of weeks ago. This week I was at Sages. So the first subject is, I mean, and these are enterprise software companies, right? Serving different parts of the market, including manufacturing. And the number one subject is AI, right? So AI comes in right now in two different forms in the software. One is generative AI, as we use at ChatGPT, about the content, getting some content ideas, number crunching, and so on. And there is also the agentive AI. So there are also agents, AI agents that we can actually prompt to do certain tasks. So this is where we are right now as a technology in enterprise software industry in general. So it's being adopted, just like you mentioned. This number crunching and analysis is massive. I mean, human is much better than humans, faster, quicker. We need to double
Yes.
check still. However, it's just getting better. It's just getting better. Keeps learning, and this improvement, is continuous learning, is what makes the AI different in that sense, comparison to previous technologies when first time they were introduced. For example, internet, right? So this is in that sense very very exciting. And we'll see how it's gonna roll out in US manufacturing. However, to your point, it's an actually opportunity to re-engineer many different things in business in general. So
Yes.
we can utilize it, especially the automation part can really make the US different in terms of manufacturing and manufacturing operations. So that's really exciting. I mean, we are fortunate to see this in our lives. Seeing these technologies, these evolution in that sense. So it's really excited to be part of it.
Embrace it. I've been surprised that I go to these conferences for our businesses, and I've been surprised at the dichotomy between who's embracing it and who isn't. And it doesn't matter at what age. It's just some people either are getting it and recognizing that it is transformational
Mhm.
for our future and embracing it, and it's not just for kids, right? We, and then those who are in denial that well, it's something I'll get to later. I'm telling you, we have to embrace it now and start weaving it into the fabric of your business. Um, People are communicating in ways now, particularly. So we're also a founding member of New York Robotics, which is a robotics network and incubator, future incubator of robotic support for the greater New York City area. And they're beyond that already. So the large portion of the people that are in the network are venture capitalists that are investing in robotics, and I will say that also enormous amount of money in this. There are VC companies that are just scouring the landscape looking for companies to support, particularly startups. It's a great environment, probably the best environment right now I've seen in a long time for advancement in those types of activities beyond just pure programming, and getting into the real work of getting automated equipment out there and robotics. But yeah, it's great stuff. And drones. I don't want to forget that as well. So what a lot of work has been done in that area as well.
I like to shift our conversation a little bit, if possible. You have decades of experience in manufacturing in the US, and have you had any role models? Are there any role models that you can share with us?
Yeah, actually, there are a few. Certainly, my father and my grandfather worked very hard. Were self-made people. Worked and hoped to be able to build their own businesses. Actually, both of them tried and failed to keep a business running. Uh, I kind of look up to them as models for the way to get things done. And there are certainly some other folks, but uh, some of the biggest role models that I've had really have come from uh, folks that I've observed in the field, um, at surprisingly not the upper levels, people that um, work every day and have worked every day to not just make a difference. So I'm talking about some of the managers I've had the pleasure of working with, because I moved up from being a machinist to an assistant plant manager, then a plant manager, then taking on a couple of plants, then VP and then now CEO, but the folks that have actually done the work, right, and were open to allowing to share their knowledge and just um, get a lot of pleasure out of paying it forward. I had two specific gentlemen back in Pennsylvania, so they were Marines. One was a drill sergeant at Paris Island, and um, they both had figured out how to make the transition from the military to manufacturing, which can be a very, very difficult thing, particularly when you're using rank and as a form of control and communication between you and someone else, to be able to become more human or to humanize the situation for themselves. It was very difficult, but they learned a lot about themselves, and they were able to teach me disciplines of day-to-day life. So, before standard work was even popular as a word, that is something that's ingrained into our military folks, which, by the way, are some of the best hires you can possibly have for a manufacturing business. They can integrate very quickly. They're amazing problem solvers, and I encourage anybody who has a business to do their best to try and hire some of our veterans, because they just need a chance. Also, I will say, we actually have 10 folks here that work with us, and they're from our deaf community. They also just need a chance. They are some of the best and hardest working folks that we have, and they consistently outperform on a national level the average for employees, or what would be rated as a standard employee. They really overachieve, and in communication with one of them one afternoon, I had asked her how she got into the business, and I was surprised to find out that it took her years to be able to break into manufacturing. And she said, the only barrier I had is that no one would give me a chance. No one would allow me the opportunity to prove myself, and that gets forgotten about. And so it's just we're very proud of the fact that we support the hearing challenged as well as the physically challenged here in our shop, and we place them wherever we can. So sorry to digress there, but yeah. So role models, I've had several. Over time, they're currently General David Petraeus, who's made also the transition from military life into now he's with KKR, and then there are some other folks out there as well.
Yeah, in your career journey, I'm sure you had some lessons learned. So one of our missions at our podcast is to share educational content with today's and next generation professionals. So in this view, can you tell us some of the lessons learned that you learned in your career journey?
Sure, and I have a couple of good ones actually. As an engineer, I'm going to reach out to my engineering community out there. We are terrible communicators as a group. We get into engineering because we like science. It has consistency and repeatability, and the math and science has control, right? Where people don't, right? And people interaction and communication with people scares us. So that was me. I was completely comfortable sitting in front of my CRT designing machines and products and not having to talk to people, but found out very quickly that you're part of a community inside a manufacturing facility, and you are compelled to talk to people, and if you're going to do yourself a favor, the best favor you can do is, and the people that advance the fastest, I think, in their careers are people that have mastered the ability to communicate. Even the folks that aren't real good at it have learned how to at least do a good job of getting their message across in a group. And the other thing I would say, number two, and probably equally as important, don't be afraid to fail. I've learned I failed a lot. I'll be honest. Even gotten fired from a couple of jobs, right? To be able to learn from those experiences is precious, and um, it's there. When you fail, it creates an environment where you will feel it personally that you're very very focused. Uh, Monday morning quarterbacking that situation, it gives you that fire in the belly that you didn't have before. And lastly, you're going to be working a long time, so I would probably pick something that you're going to enjoy. So find your passion. What is your why? Why are you going to get up every day and go to work? If you don't have that why, you will move around from job to job and probably not be happy. But seek that out in yourself, and it doesn't have to be a big why. For some people, it's just providing for my family. For some people, it's much more lofty, making a difference in the world and being recognized. So figure that out early, and I think you're going to be better off.
What are your biggest passions and interests outside of work?
Outside of work, oh, love cars. I love fast cars. I love I follow Formula One and IndyCar and NASCAR. I'm a real big Formula One fan. So yeah, that's a passion. And then also spending time with my family. So
Of course, yeah, that's great. Well, actually, you mentioned earlier briefly about internship programs, and I'm
yes.
I'm a witness. I know how you are focused to introduce manufacturing to next generation, and encourage them to enter into the manufacturing industry as a career choice. And you are very active. I can definitely attest to it. And having said that, so can you tell us about internship programs? How important they are? Also, at your organization, how the internship programs are running, and what type of outcomes that you have been seeing.
Yes. Mixed outcomes, but all good. I'll be honest with you. Good for the students, good for the businesses. You'd be surprised, those of you that have businesses out there that haven't committed to doing an intern or co-op program. It's a little bit of a step because you have to have a support network. You have to have someone that's going to be able to manage and train and oversee the interns. But if you build that into your management structure, that your managers have to commit to being a part of that process, you'd be surprised at the outcome. And we started our intern program several years ago, and partnered with a number of different high schools here, and have gotten a stream of really good people that are very bright, very motivated, absorbing like sponges, and are actively making a difference in the business in the short time that they're here. So they're usually here from the summer, during the summer months, but we also have some folks that come back in the winter break. But also we have a few of them that come back as co-op students for an entire semester. So they'll modify their day and work with us part of the day, and then go to school part of the day. But for the students themselves, like myself, it's the best possible learning tool that you could. I imagine immersing a person who is learning into an environment where they're actually going to apply the stuff that they're learning in real time. There's no better learning cycle than that.
Um, do you have any career advice for the next generation who are thinking about getting into manufacturing?
Yes, check it out. Go look at, if your school's going to do tours, or if your school has a tech program, check it out. Don't be afraid to take a look at it, particularly the folks that are coming from, like in New York. Greater New York isn't certainly known for its families of manufacturing. As like I had four generations of manufacturing. It's usually sales, business, retail, financial. Particularly if you're in families or lines of families that are in those businesses, it's a way for you to make a difference in a totally different way that you could have ever imagined, and you should check it out. Go to a tour, get involved in one of the industry programs, SME, or there are some others out there in the schools, and go see a manufacturing plant, particularly if you've never been there before. It's a lot different than what your parents are telling you that it looks like.
Yes,
Yeah.
the generally it's considered to be a difficult environment to work with, right? That's just the old mindset that the image comes to mind. But I also had the pleasure of visiting, having the factory tour, at your facilities, for example. These are great facilities, and doing great manufacturing operations, and these are great working environment. I also saw it with my own eyes. So that also, to your point, once they see these manufacturing environment, they can also see the latest manufacturing facilities, how they are running, how the working environment is actually designed. Then they can see with their own eyes, and then they can make the decision for themselves. Um,
Yeah.
Also, I know you are also a great supporter of the manufacturing day and manufacturing month activities
Yeah.
also on Long Island, and also nationwide, no doubt about it. So yeah, it is also coming up, or we can also talk about a little bit. So that happens in October, and we introduce, right, we basically put the word out about manufacturing. We promote manufacturing in the US, also in the region on Long Island and greater New York area. And that's also a great opportunity for next generation to learn about manufacturing, engage with the manufacturers, as well as professionals in manufacturing field. So
Yeah.
we are in June, but October is coming, so that's also something that we
Start
can share.
planning. Never too
Yeah.
early to plan, right?
Yes, yes.
And
So
get your
yes,
parents out there too. The parents need to play a big role in that as well.
absolutely. So Robert, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule.
Oh,
So for our
enjoyed it. Thank you.
thank you. So for our audience, also let's put the website information on the screen. If so, let's put it out there for those who like to learn more about your organization. The website is on the screen. Is there any other? The website is the best way to learn about the organization. What would you say?
It is, yes, and you can learn about the multiple brands that we have. STPSI being the biggest, but also look at our we have career opportunities and news and technical information, and you can also get to our over 100,000 SKU catalog that way too. Our catalog is online. It's massive, but it has an enormous amount of information on it on parts, as well as technical information for you to be able to do your build for whatever it is that you're building.
Robert, thank you so much for being with us. Also, thank you for your service, especially for US manufacturing, as well as your efforts to promote manufacturing to the next generation. I truly appreciate it,
Thank
and
you
thank
so
you so
much.
much. Thank you.
And thank you, Kevin. Keep it going, my friend.
All right. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Well, to our audience and to our listeners, we had another great American business podcast session and episode. It was very educational. Robert Kufner is the manufacturer, and we learned a lot about U.S. manufacturing, as well as challenges, opportunities, AI, and how AI is actually shaping the manufacturing. We will learn a lot. So I hope you also enjoyed it. Well, as you know, we passed 30,000 YouTube subscribers. Now we have, I believe, almost 35,000 YouTube subscribers, and increasing fast on daily basis. I truly appreciate your support. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. These subscriptions mean a lot to us. It shows your support. It really motivates us. And please subscribe, like, put your thoughts, comments in our YouTube channel, whichever video makes sense to you, resonate to you, and please continue supporting us. Also, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you'd like to be in touch with us, our email address is americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. Would you like to be a guest, or someone who can be a guest in our business podcast? You can also send us an email. We keep an open mind. We love to hear from you as feedback, as well as guest ideas. If you like to be a guest, you can reach out to us. We definitely welcome business professionals who likes to share insights, business insights, educational content. We definitely welcome any business professional in that sense. Also, if you have any ideas that you like us to cover, you can also send us an email that we can, find the relevant guest invite to our podcast. We can cover that subject as well. Also, we are open for sponsorship opportunities. If you like to be a sponsor, if you like to advertise, promote your business in our business podcast, you can also send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you visit our website, americanpodcast.tv, you can also see our coming schedule. We update our website on weekly basis, so you'll see who will be with us every week, and you can also see the guest, what subject that we will cover. You'll also get the information. So our American Business Podcast.tv website is current, and we keep it active. We have a new sponsor, IPVanish VPN. And I also use IPVanish VPN. It's a solid system. If you are looking for a VPN system, you can visit the link that I actually shared on the screen. And if you in need of the VPN, I recommend IPVanish, and that is the link that you can connect, get more information, and subscribe. Well, okay, great. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time and for your interest. We keep it going every week. We bring you new content, new episode in the American Business Podcast, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Another episode, another educational content at the American Business Podcast, ABP. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.